Hi guys, how are ya? I hope everybody is doing great this week. All right, I have some fun stuff in store for us. So this week we are going to explore the caves of Lascaux in France. And yeah, that's right, we're going to France. Well, sort of. Okay. So we are going to this amazing place. We're going to actually take a look at this amazing place called Lascaux, and it is where some of the first art was created during the Paleolithic time period. Paleolithic means the Stone Age, kind of is when people first started to use stone tools to make things. Also included the Ice Age. Some of you have heard that. I know there's a cool movie for us out there called the Ice Age. So it was when things were really cold here on Earth. So we are going to be taking a look at some caves that were discovered in Lascaux. Now, the paintings that are there are about, most archaeologists think, 17,000 years old. That's older than Mrs. Hoy. Yeah, really, older than Mrs. Hoy. And they were found by four young boys only about 80 years ago in the year of 1940. So the story goes that four young boys, like teenagers, they were out exploring in the forest with their dog Robot. His name was Robot. And Robot got curious and he found a hole and he ran down the hole. And when he did, the boys followed him because it was like a really big hole, like you could fit in it. And it was actually the opening to the cave. And when they got inside, and they lit a match to see where they were. They don't ever light matches. They were big boys, so they saw all this beautiful artwork in the cave, and we're going to actually get to see some of that artwork today in our videos, our lesson videos that Mrs. Hoy has for you. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm really excited to explore this with you. We're going to be thinking about the cave paintings, and also we're going to be thinking about the element of texture in our project this week. And you remember, well, let's talk about our learning goals first. Our learning goals are to learn about some of the earliest evidence of art in the caves of Lascaux and to experiment with art processes to make art by creating a rubbing that shows texture. So let's talk about that texture. So texture, we know, means how something looks or feels. And we can have, and that means like bumpy, smooth, rough, those kinds of things. We can have implied texture or real texture. There's two kinds of texture. Now, implied texture means when, if you can see that, when something looks like it has texture. For instance, this is a drawing that Mrs. Hoy did of something that looks like a woven material or a basket, and it's made to look like it has texture. It looks like if you ran your finger over it, it would be bumpy, but it's not. It's smooth because it's just on paper and I drew it. So that's called implied texture. That means when we make it look like it has real texture, like it's lumpy, bumpy, or smooth. Then we have things that have actual real texture. And those would be things that really are lumpy, bumpy, or smooth when you feel them. Like for instance, I have this piece of material up here. It was kind of a part of a tablecloth that I had on my dining room table. And it feels kind of rough and not smooth. It feels a little bit sharp and bumpy when I run my finger over it because it has real texture. They took real threads and they wove them together, and that made it feel that way. So this is called real texture. Real texture. All right. Well, we're going to need to know that because we're going to be doing a project that I'm going to let you watch a video of. It's another art teacher who is showing how to create this thing called a rubbing, and then she's going to show you how to do a little bit of some of the cave type drawings on top of the rubbing. But I want to show you how a rubbing works first because she does it really quick and it's kind of a good little tutorial, but I want to show you exactly how that works. So what you're going to do is you're going to need to go on a texture hunt around your house, and you could find things like material, like Mrs. Hoy has. That means like fabric or something from your dining room table maybe. Or you could go outside and you could find a tree. Trees are very rough and they have a really great texture. You could use them. You could use a basket. There's lots of different things, maybe even the wall in your house. But remember, no wall drawings. I don't want mommy or daddy giving me a hard time that you were drawing on the wall, because we don't want to do that for sure, right? But you can put your paper over it. You can do this rubbing on the wall. That'll work. So here's how a rubbing works. You're going to take your paper. Once you find your texture that you think you want to use, and maybe you might try a few different textures, that's fine. You're going to put your paper over that texture. And you're going to take either a crayon, or you're going to see in the video that Mrs. Hoy has for you to watch, Mrs. Stevens has some oil pastels that she's using. So if you have those kinds of things at home, that's certainly fine. But if you don't, a crayon works great. Even a pencil will still create a rubbing. So you can do that, okay? So you're going to take your paper, you're going to put it over top of whatever the texture is that you're going to want to rub. And you're going to use the flat side of your crayon. You're going to use it this way, right? Not the end, the flat side. And we're going to rub it, rub it, rub it. That's why it's called a rubbing. We're going to rub it, rub it, rub it over. And it's real hard to keep going. Make it nice and dark. And you're going to start to see. I don't know if you can be able to see that if I go up real close. Oh, yeah. You're going to see how you get texture coming through your paper. You're rubbing. And I'm going to do it with an oil pastel because I think it might give you, yeah, it's going to make it a little bit darker. So notice that if I do this, and you're of course going to do this on a flat surface, so you won't have your paper flying all around like Mrs. Hoy does. But let's see, is that coming out? There you go. So you're going to see how that using that crayon or oil pastel over something that has texture. So we're making implied texture from real texture. How that comes out with that background. That's going to create our cave background for us. Okay? And then once you are ready, you're going to see Mrs. Stevens in the video. She's going to show you how to start to draw some animals, so you can kind of follow along with her idea. Now remember, these were kind of primitive. We call them primitive drawings. It means they're not perfect. They are just our best that we can do. And we know that in the caves, you're going to get to actually see them too. There were pictures of bison and deer and woolly mammoths and lots of animals that were alive at that time, thousands and thousands of years ago. So pretty cool stuff. So here's what you need to do. First thing is you're going to need to watch the National Geographic video that I have in the assignment for you. It is called Prehistoric 101 Cave Art, I think. And you're going to get to watch that. That's a few minutes long. That's going to tell you all about some interesting things about cave art. And then you're going to watch the little project video that Mrs. Stevens has put out. And it is about, I think only like a minute long. She's going to show you real quick kind of what I just did, but she'll give you a few more pointers as she does it. So it's a good idea to watch that one. And then it's going to be your turn. So you're going to get your paper and your crayons or your oil pastel. She used charcoal for the black. If you have that kind of stuff, for sure you can use it, but certainly just a regular color crayon and a black crayon will work just fine for this project. So you'll have your paper and your crayons or your other materials as you want. And then you're going to go make your rubbing. Go on that texture scavenger hunt and make your rubbings. You can maybe use a few different textures in your background if you want. You can experiment with that. And then draw on your animals, whichever animal you choose to put there. So have lots of fun with it. Guys, I've also included some optional things. There's an actual virtual tour of the real caves of Lascaux. Lascaux, sorry, I say it wrong sometimes. Lascaux. So you can actually take a virtual tour of those caves. And I've also included some interesting fact sheets for you too that have a lot more information about the caves and the cave art that is kind of all over that particular area in France and Spain, over in Europe. So cool stuff. I hope you enjoy. See you soon. Bye-bye.